Perspective, a redesign of curriculum culminating in productive discussions and a poignant podcast. 1 John 3, verses 16 through 18. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his own life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but shows no compassion, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. While many ethnicities, cultures, and groups are represented, it is impossible to be entirely inclusive. I would like to work with the students in my Hindsight group to develop representation of the Latino culture for future plans. For my curriculum redesign, I took my original Race and the Gospel Week and redesigned it into an entire semester plan. Please take a moment and read the bullet points below outlining that plan. The written reflections are what inspired the podcast project. I have included a sample for you to experience.
I hate my hair. Well, I hated my hair. Unfortunately, I think this sentiment was inevitable. Growing up as a black girl in an almost exclusively white school, I fell into the dark hole of trying to hide my identity. This effort to hide any ethnic part of myself manifested the most in my hair. How could it not? I looked at my peers and saw how long, silky, and luscious their hair was, but I was stuck with frizzy, unruly hair that became a laughingstock to my peers. They weren't busy laughing at it. They were petting me, putting pencils in my hair to see if it would stay, and asking questions about why I don't straighten my hair more often. What would be the solution to this endless ignorance? Hide. I began my daily routine of brushing my hair into small, tight buns in hopes of making my hair as small as possible. Unfortunately, in my attempt to shrink my hair, I shrunk myself. Despite the stress and damage this caused my hair, I continued this routine for years, or until it seemed too late. However, when the global pandemic forced everyone into an emergent state of lockdown, my hair was finally set free. The social stress of being different vanished, and I could finally let my hair out of its prison. But the hair I let down was weak, damaged, and it didn't even look like the hair I once had. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even look in the mirror without crying. Ashamed and embarrassed, I turned to the internet in hope of an answer. I shamefully clicked the search bar and typed, "How to fix damaged hair." I entered 5 words and found a plethora of girls who looked like me and shared my hair problems. I found hundreds of videos of women, all offering remedies to heal my natural hair. I had no idea that healing my natural hair could help to heal me. In the process of rediscovering and healing my curls, I found myself. Not only did my lack of self-confidence show in my hair, but it also showed in other aspects of my life. I believed that I didn't deserve to be seen or heard. I was afraid of what people thought of me. Discovering that my hair symbolizes a significant part of who I am gave me the confidence to accept the rest of my identity. Knowing that my hair is such a crucial part of my identity helped me realize that I deserve the same love and confidence as everyone else, and I want to help others embrace themselves. If someone told me a few years ago that I would no longer be bound by social views that held both my hair and my voice hostage, I would have laughed. I was sure that once I graduated high school, I would run away from my peers and finally free my hair and cowardice. But I now know that hardships are best overcome in the face of adversity. Loving myself, although easier said than done amidst people who laughed at me, seemed impossible. In my quest to rediscover my hair, I discovered an online community of women like me who inspired me to reclaim my hair and live a confidence-driven life and remain unafraid of what others will think or say. It takes courage to share your perspective in a space where you were once vulnerable, voice your struggles, and even to share this story. Up until recently, I was terrified of drawing attention to myself, but I'm now proud to celebrate my uniqueness in this community. If I could see what my future self will become, I hope that she lives a generous life dedicated to helping others become the best versions of themselves, and I hope she loves her hair.
The Christian society which we have paints the picture that we are accepting of everyone, no matter their background, showing them God's love through what we do. However, it doesn't always happen. For example, we just finished a test and I was bored out of my mind. I pulled out my phone since we still had about 20 minutes left in class to try to fill the lull. I tried to feign a genuine interest in the infinite random posts and stories from my classmates. Why do you live in America if you can't speak English? Mexicans just steal our jobs. It just popped up. I kept clicking away trying to ignore the story, but my thoughts kept running through my head. My mom does not speak English very well. Did they honestly believe that while she was talking to their parents after the last school function? What implications does this have on me? Did they think I was going to steal their jobs? Was I grouped into it? All my life I had tried to prove I was something more than just a statistic, setting a new standard for my people. I couldn't live with it, so I bottled my feelings. A few days passed, and I told my close friends about the incident. They helped me get through it by explaining that those words don't define me. No matter what, a person's cruel words aren't the true definition of who you are.
Right there, in the middle of a normal lunch, it happened. "Look, I'm Asian," my friend said mockingly, while putting his hands to his face and stretching his eyes to become slanted. "Can you even see? Where are your eyes?" Hot tears stung in my own eyes as I glared at him and stomped my foot hard onto his. It was the only thing my 7-year-old self knew to do. Later, I bawled my eyes out as I told my older sister what had happened at school. To be honest, I really didn't know why I was so upset that morning in the first grade. I just knew that I had been insulted. The consequences of going to a small, private, and diversity-lacking elementary school my whole life was that I hadn't realized that I was different from my mostly, if not all, Caucasian classmates at the time. Even though I couldn't fully understand, this incident made me realize that I was perceived as different and believe that difference was bad. At first, I was frustrated and uptight about any comment. Eventually, if I just held my tongue and didn't call out the racial comments that made me uncomfortable, I wouldn't be seen as uptight or not able to take a joke. Later, this faulty belief made a quiet and confused middle schooler insecure and sensitive to jokes about my race. However, I soon discovered that if instead of being offended at these jokes, I joined in and made fun of my eyes and my culture, my classmates would like me more. I was seeking validation from my classmates, and honestly, I just wanted to fit in and feel like I belonged. This caused me to brush off, encourage, and even willingly instigate racist jokes and stereotypes from my friends, peers, and yes, even teachers, all while feeling totally alone and even more alienated inside without even realizing. Despite these circumstances, my mindset slowly began to shift in high school. Generally, I began to stop caring so much about what others thought about me, and this started to affect my views on my race as well. Another major factor that shaped my views today was more representation in social media. I began to see Asian Americans that looked like me and that shared the same culture as me, and for the first time, I felt like I was a part of something. I realized that I was not alone in my experiences, like people making fun of my race and culture and being ashamed of the Korean cuisine and languages I grew up with. In fact, it was common. Not only did these Asian Americans have the same experiences as me, but they also called me out on the harmful effects caused if we continually perpetuated and reinforced the stereotypes and preassumptions others had through seemingly harmless things like a joke. I began to think of the other middle schoolers that would feel alone like me and realized that by making fun of myself, I was basically making fun of them too. I was not making a better place for them. Now, like probably everyone else, I cringe at the middle school me who would make a racial joke anytime I could, and while people laughed every time, it probably got a little old. That is embarrassing. However, I would not take these mistakes back. I grew as a person because of that little boy in the first grade. I grew because of the insecurities and the hardships. But most of all, I grew because of my mistakes. I now want to take these experiences and share them with younger and confused Asian Americans like me so that they don't feel alone or feel like they have to make fun of their culture and race like I did. Through all these tears, struggles, and mistakes, I learned so much that I could teach them. One of the most valuable lessons, I feel, extends even farther than race. Being different is okay. In fact, Our differences should be celebrated.